speak of our personal experience of giving of ourselves, much as the wise men gave their gifts to Jesus. So first, I'd like to start with looking at the gifts that the wise men gave to Jesus. They gave him gold. It's easy to see how this is an appropriate gift for Jesus. Gold is the metal of kings. The gift of gold signifies Jesus' right to rule. The wise men knew that Jesus was the King of Kings. They brought incense. Incense was used in worship in the temple. It was part of the offerings of thanksgiving and praise to God. In presenting this gift, the wise men acknowledged Christ as our great high priest. They brought myrrh. Myrrh was a spice used in embalming. This gift of faith may have foretold Christ's suffering and ultimate victory over death. By faith, we too may present our gifts of gold, incense, and myrrh. Begin with your myrrh. Myrrh is not only a symbol of Christ's death, but also a symbol of our spiritual death that is a consequence of sin. When we lay our myrrh, or our sin, at Jesus' feet, we are acknowledging that Christ took our sin and died in our place. We ask for forgiveness and for Christ to live in our hearts. After you've done that, come with your incense, your gift of praise and thanksgiving. When Christ lives in us, the good deeds done in his name become a fragrant offering, pleasing to God. Finally, come with your gold. When you come with your gold, you acknowledge the right of Christ to rule your life. You say, I am your servant. Lead me so I may grow spiritually and serve you as a disciple. Taken together, these are the gifts of faith, which are the only things that we can offer to the one whose grace has given us all things. Another aspect of our gift of faith is our neediness. When we ask Jesus for help, he is glorified. Glory comes to him when we depend on him rather than try to enrich him. Let's think of Jesus as living water or a mountain spring. A spring is not glorified by us hauling buckets of dirty water up the mountain and dumping them in. A spring is glorified by us lying at the edge of the stream, putting our face in, drinking our fill, getting up and saying, ah, that's what I need. That is called worship. When we take a bucket, dip it into that spring, fill it up, walk down the mountain to the people in the valley who didn't even know that the spring exists, and say, taste this. It's right up there. And his name is Jesus. This is how we give of ourselves, and this is how we give the gift of Jesus. This is how we do it in a mission setting, and this is how we do it in our everyday lives. When you prepare food for the homeless and the poor, you are glorifying Jesus. You are treating those who Jesus calls my brethren with honor, because they too belong to Jesus. When you go to Guatemala to build a well, to provide clean water for an entire community, you are glorifying Jesus. When you support the work in Swaziland, where the most vulnerable children, those who have been dumped in a pit latrine or have been left in a field to die, when those children are taken in and cared for, they are fed and they are loved, then you are glorifying Jesus. You are caring for the least of these because they too belong to Jesus. When you're helpful to your elderly neighbor, or you're kind to a coworker, when you're patient with your parents or with your kids, you are glorifying Jesus. It's then that you're giving Jesus the gifts that glorify and honor him, just as the gift of gold, incense, and myrrh given by the wise men glorified and honored Jesus.
Wow. For all those of you that know that the theme of Advent this year was unexpected and mysterious. Unexpected and mysterious indeed. Can you imagine what it was like for the Magi to see some mysterious clues about the King of Jews? What was this star? Where did it come from? What does it mean? Yeah, we can get into the scientific aspects of that. Some talk of the different astrology and born under a certain sign and all that. But really what it was is a light that they wanted to see. Isn't that like all of us? We're all seekers, trying to find the truth, the meaning, how to live our lives, searching for it all. All we have is a light to guide us. I'm drawn to light, aren't we all? But especially in people. I think about the people that have the light. Of course, the first one that comes to mind for me is Darlene. Darlene definitely had the Christian spirit in her. And I know she's here right now. I know she's shining and glorifying and wondering at what we have here and what she sees in other people. That's a gift. The Magi, they did find the light. Can you imagine how unexpected it was for them to find this simple baby with very humble beginnings, who was to be king? Isn't that like all of us? We find God in the little things. A tiny baby. Sherry mentioned at Darlene's funeral that when Darlene passed away, the first thing that she saw after that was a tiny baby. So now when she sees tiny babies, she thinks of Darlene and the light. A simple gesture that you might make. The coming together of all of your insight. An aha moment. Epiphany. That's what today is. I was putting away Christmas decorations yesterday. Apparently that's a thing on January 5th. I don't know, in England they call it the 12th night or something like that. They burn all the trees and everything. And I was commenting on how it just didn't seem right because I didn't get all my Christmas decorations up. And Natalie, my wise child, said, did it mean any less because we didn't have all the decorations up? Is it Christmas without decorations? And at first I was like, well, yeah, Christmas means decorations and singing and all these things. But when I realized, I had that aha moment. It's not about the Christmas decorations. It's about the people. About the people that I know, the people that I was able to see, to get together with, to be involved with, to see the light in them. The Magi brought gifts. As Anne mentioned, gold, frankincense, and myrrh. Imagine what it was like for Mary and Joseph to get these unexpected and mysterious gifts. Thanks, guys. What am I supposed to do with these? As Mary Lou said, if there were women, they would have brought casseroles, right? But it was gold for a king, frankincense for the divine, and myrrh to embalm the body for life everlasting. Surely these gifts were mysterious, but maybe they had an ulterior purpose, because they did escape to Egypt. Maybe they helped to pay the way. Don't we all want gifts with meaning? Don't we all want to have gifts with meaning? We all had a nice Christmas, I presume. And I, as well, had really nice Christmas. I got some nice things. But I've got to say that the best gift that I got was being able to visit my aunt. I have one aunt. My dad has one sister. And I only have 3 cousins. And I don't get to see my aunt because she lives down in Florida. And we went down to visit her. And it was really nice to have it all come together, because growing up, every Thanksgiving and every Christmas, we spent time with my aunt and uncle and my 3 cousins. And we hadn't done that for a long time. Probably the last time I saw my aunt was maybe 15, 20 years ago. So we got to visit with her, and it was really a wonderful thing because we connected on so many different things, but especially on our faith. My aunt has always been a person of faith, and sometimes we didn't connect on that, but we were able to talk about what our faith means to us and make that connection. That was a gift for me. The Magi, they found the baby Jesus, but they didn't go back to tell Herod about it. Something mysterious told them in a dream, don't go back. We get messages like that on what to do and how we should follow the word of the Lord. I had the pleasure of serving last summer on a youth mission team. And it really was a wondrous experience because we brought all these youth and we went into Rochester, New York to help rebuild some stairs, porches, do painting. And if you know my family, you know that Bill is the one that does all that kind of painting and fixing. I do all the other things. But I was able to use my hands to build something, which was very unique. I wouldn't say that painting is a gift for me, but I was able to use my hands, which are a gift. So the message that I received was to go and lead these youth. And I received a gift I gave by participating, but I received the gift of seeing the spiritual growth in the youth of our church and seeing what they gained from that experience as well. You see, the unexpected is that this is not just about the birth of Christ. It's that we celebrate the gift every day. The mystery is, what are we going to do with the gift that we've been given? Hopefully, we can all be like the Magi, actively seeking and finding answers to mysterious clues on a long journey, one step at a time.
I need help, so please pray with me. I have a prayer from one of our at the Chicago Theological Seminary. Please pray with me. Gracious God, we've fallen so many times, yet you've cradled us from our beginnings and have taught us to be willing and deliver us from our enemies, fear, selfishness, want. Renew our spirits, quiet our minds from daily stress. Help us find you each day. Amen. Christmas is a season of giving. Media, retail, and online stores provide plenty of incentive to give gifts. Not-for-profit organizations flood us with letters to make year-end donations. We're even asked to donate our precious time, all the while baking, shopping and wrapping, creating family traditions, traveling, and so on. Do you ever get grumpy at Christmas time? Several years ago, someone, and I honestly don't remember who it was, very sarcastically suggested that the only reason we Christians do kind things for others is to make us feel good about ourselves. It stuck with me because it made me feel ashamed. It tarnished the fun of giving. This was counter to everything I'd learned and taught my children. Did the wise men bring gifts to boost their egos? I don't think so, and I ask all of you how you feel when you've helped, visited, listened to, purchased a gift, spent time, or engaged another person out of pure love. Sometimes what we do isn't on our I want to do this list. Many times, tasks aren't pleasant, but we do them anyway. So what does giving do to our spirit? My personal reaction is we employ some of those desired personality or character traits noted by Paul in Galatians 5:22. The fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, generosity, faithfulness, gentleness, and that hard-to-find self-control. Notably for me, it's joy. We want to pass on the feeling of joy so that others might sense it. It is very contagious. About 10 years ago, I was heating soup for the homeless in the South Hall kitchen for Loaves and Fishes Ministry. I was working with youth volunteer Ellie Dorn. We were wrapping up the project and readying for delivery, the soup that is. Someone came in and noted our mistakes in the kitchen. There was no hesitation to scold us. Yes, I'm a little bit messy. We were having a good time together, though, and most certainly would follow through with cleanup. Both of us were left with terribly bruised feelings. Our faces must have been very long when Ellie's mom, Lori, came in to check on us. She said, "How's it going?" And she looked again and said, "What happened?" After explaining our situation, she said in a firm, loving tone to her daughter, "Ellie, don't ever let anyone steal your joy." I've never forgotten those words. She had wisdom way beyond mine. Joy, or light, is what we strive to gain. Imagine not having it. There would be no passion or delight in our lives. Receiving gifts is another important aspect of giving. If we don't graciously receive, we have the power to extinguish another person's joy in giving to us. Watching a giver's face break into a smile is equally as delightful as observing the receiver's gratitude when opening a gift. Aren't we pleasantly surprised, too, when someone recalls a little kindness long ago forgotten in our memory and reminds us of it? It's doubly joyful. Children teach us this concept so beautifully on Christmas morning when Santa's gifts are under the tree. We make videos of their excitement, especially if great effort was put into the gift. What we do and how we do it does matter. How we respond does matter. The man I mentioned earlier who noted giving us makes us feel good, well, he was correct, but he missed the point. It's not the only reason. Giving with love is rewarding. It produces joy, which, as I said, is contagious. In Charles Dickens' A Christmas Carol, Scrooge exhibits unforgettably joyful giddiness when he discovers how much fun it is to give. The scene makes me laugh and cry every time I watch it. Christmas crabby just isn't how I want to feel. I've learned to give and receive from Jesus' example and from all of you. I'm crazy in love with feeling joy any time of the year. Frederick Buechner says, happiness turns up more or less where you'd expect it to. A good marriage, a rewarding job, a pleasant vacation. But joy, he says, on the other hand, is as notoriously unpredictable as the one who bequeathed it. It comes unexpectedly and mysteriously. So I thank you for showing me the way by setting the example with your actions and opportunities. If you're not involved or new to the church, here are some ideas of ways to become active givers. You can go on a vacation in Guatemala while providing clean, drinkable water to a village that has none. You'll receive their heartfelt appreciation and their exuberant joy. You can contact Sue and Jim Coleus to sing carols for donations to purchase gifts for older youth in support of Toys for Tots. Or start your own fundraising project like the Estels did to make something good come out of their tragedy. You can come here to help get food to the homeless in Hammond, simply by chopping vegetables or driving your car with a meal others have prepared. Or you might light up a child's face as a Sunday school teacher, or like Christine as a youth helper. Or, lots of ors, make friends with someone who is homebound and lonely. If you like to make music, connect with Verdine, Chris, or Jeff. We all have spiritual gifts. Yes, every single one of us. Mine is the gift of service. Discover yours with Judy Elwood, and then give it away to others. Feel the spirit of love through giving and receiving. Jesus knew the secret of joy and encouraged the disciples by example. Find out whose feet need washing and how you will go about doing it. We don't need a visible worldly mark to set us apart as Christians. Our generous hearts are what can be felt and seen by others. In closing, I'd like to share a quote attributed to Albert Schweitzer. He says, "Of this I am certain, the only ones among you who will be truly happy are those who have sought and found how to serve." So, how will you find happiness and hold on to your joy? I bet, as Paul says, you'll feel the grace of our Lord Jesus Christ with your own spirit of giving. And the joy-filled rewards will be limitless.